In 1987, the New York Times argued that there should be no minimum wage. The editorial stated that there was a consensus among economists that a higher minimum wage wouldn't work, that it would lead to mass unemployment. This line of thinking is supported by the laws of supply and demand. When you make wages more expensive, businesses won't be willing to hire as many workers. But in the real world, things are a lot more complicated. A lot of developed countries have higher minimum wages than the United States and just aren't seeing these negative effects. A 1996 study on minimum wage in New Jersey and Pennsylvania found a small positive effect on employment. Another 2010 paper comparing over 300 pairs of states found no effects on employment. Now, economists are much more divided on the topic, and some research indicates that minimum wage increases up to 60% of the local medium wage or 80% in low-wage areas has negligible employment effects. So, what did economists of the 1980s get wrong? What did the models leave out? Generally, it is assumed businesses will make a product until the cost of each additional unit of their product is the same as the price they can sell it at. One of the costs for a business is labor, so it is assumed that making labor more expensive will increase the cost of production and be a limiting factor in a business's production. But that's not how all businesses decide how many people they hire. A lot of businesses are limited in how much heavy equipment they have. Sometimes they're selling a relatively inelastic product where price doesn't matter that much and demand is dictated more by people's need or desire for a product or a service. Obviously, the price of labor will be a limit for some businesses, but not every business. Still, that's only part of the story. So far, we've been looking at how businesses will react in the immediate sense. But what will the workers do? Generally, we assume that more people will be willing to supply something based on how much they get paid. Being paid more may mean working fewer hours or not having to take on an extra job. In 2019, the US Census Bureau found that 13 million people worked multiple jobs. Paying these people more means they won't have to spend as much time at work, making more jobs available for other people. Paying workers more can also make them more productive. One study finds that financial stress can dramatically lower one's IQ, something that directly affects productivity. A number of recent studies, one done with nursing homes and another done with department stores, also provide some further indication that higher wages can increase a worker's productivity. Increasing the incomes of working class people also causes a multiplier effect. Putting money in the hands of workers will cause them to spend more. This money doesn't just go nowhere. It will be spent on goods and services produced by businesses, allowing these businesses to sell more stuff and flourish. These businesses, along with new businesses that pop up to take advantage of the increasing demand, will be able to hire more workers and pay them better. Of course, this latter effect takes some time to play out, which is why a lot of other countries increase their minimum wage gradually every year to keep up with inflation, while the US tends to jump hours up every few years or so. Maybe it's time to learn from our European counterparts and implement a more robust, more consistently rising minimum wage. Of course, like with any policy, there are downsides. Some business hours may be cut, and some businesses may be harmed in the short run. But with such positive long-term effects, maybe we should be taking the economic benefits of gradually increasing the minimum wage more seriously.